Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and in today's episode, I'm going to tackle and give the answers to that big sort of question is that, how did anime get such a bad name for itself, and when did that all happen? Okay, so, it's a good question because a lot of people don't really know where that sort of came from. And just sort of when I was doing, going through the my anime lists and compiling the database of episodes and whatnot that are of significance and whatnot, then I sort of ran across it and kind of I'm seeing the beginnings of it, and that's probably where it hit. So, I'm gonna go over that in this episode. All right. So before we begin, I want you to go down below, click like, and click subscribe. And if you haven't hit subscribe, I mean, about half of you have subscribed, so that's great. Love you for that. For the other half of you, by all means, just go down below if you like my content. Go down below and click that subscribe button so that I can continue, telling you more episodes of these different types of animes and that kind of stuff and different things I find out about the animes. Okay, and then that'll be great. Thank you. So let's go on with this topic. So basically, I guess we'll begin at the beginning. So that's sort of like the way we should proceed here. So here we are at 1985. And what most of us here in North America are used to in terms of animation is basically whatever Disney puts out. But in addition to that, we get basically what we have for Saturday morning cartoons. So I'm, like many of you, at this time, I mean, we're growing up with, Scooby Doo. I was watching a lot of, in terms of superhero shows, would be things like, Justice League, Spider-Man, His Amazing Friends, maybe things like Space Sentinel. Watched a lot of Filmation shows, so that'd be things like Thundar the Barbarian, Black Star. I liked all those things like Tarzan and Lone Ranger and Zorro. And so all this stuff is sort of what we were accustomed to, and I guess what has happened is that some sort of unwritten rule. Obviously, no one's really made a rule about this particular thing, but there's some sort of rule that sort of made it out that if it's animated, then it must be made for kids. Okay, because at this time there is no things like American Dad, South Park, or anything like that. Okay, even things like even radical things like Ren and Stimpy or any of that kind of stuff is not out. Okay, no one made shows like that for prime time, right? Everything that was animated is designed for kids, and kids stuff is all put on Saturday mornings. Okay. Um. So that's the upbringing that we come with, right? So then when I come to Vancouver, and I start collecting this animation stuff, okay, and all of a sudden I'm exposed to stuff that's animated, obviously, which is definitely not designed for kids, and as I get the stuff that's just whatever, say PG-13, then all of a sudden I'm getting into stuff which is now PG-17, if even, and just stuff that's quite simply goes right into R and X, okay, in our ratings, right? Again, this is totally unheard of, okay, mind-bogglingly, blowingly, unheard of. Like all of a sudden, someone's broke that rule and said, no, this anime stuff can be anything, and there's no rule about it being just for kids. It's for everyone, okay, and. And so I started looking at when I'm doing my anime list stuff, and I did 1985. And I didn't think too much of 1985, so I'm going to pull up 1985 here, and so my database here, and I have different sort of titles and that stuff that are significant in this particular year. And I go through the list, and it seems pretty normal. I mean, you got some pretty big movies, of course. Area 88, The Vampire Hunter D, Lupin the Third, lots of really good movies and TV shows in this particular year. But then when I think about this topic, okay, then I look at the list a little more carefully, and then what I've noticed is things like, oh, okay, I see Megazone 23, And again, that typically the show is pretty good. It does have that one little sex scene in the middle of it, and I thought, okay, yeah, that's definitely pushing the edge and going right over there and just and touch it. And then of course, I think backwards and think, okay, well, yeah, don't forget they did that for the Min-Mei shower scene in Macross back in '82, and Macross Do You Remember Love in '84. Okay, so just glimpses of that. That's not really going over the edge. That's just a little bit of fan service and a little flash shot there. So okay, so that's the should I say the beginning of it, to see how far that envelope was going to be able to be pushed, right? And so we just kind of creep over it a little bit, and then I'm continuing looking at this list here. Again, the series of August came out, and of course that had that the two sisters entwining there a little bit. So I thought, okay, that's never thought anything of it, but I just noticed that was sort of there. And then going down the list again, and I'm just noticing things like Ixer 1. Okay, again, there's that the lesbian love scene between B in the first OVA. So I thought, okay, yeah, that's and again, that's Hirano, right? So he is also very famous for doing one of the Cream Lemon episodes as well. And so I'm thinking, okay, all right, yeah, that's definitely pushed thing over there. Dirty Pair Landia affair, of course, even just the name Dirty Pair, right? Really has that connotation as well to it. And so here I sense that there's this these people that again. I made an insignificance in one of my other episodes. What the hell happened in 1985? Go to my database and do check that episode out if you want more detailed analysis of 1985, as well as the My Anime list for 1985. Those will go over in detail how I broke down 1985. But just sort of quick little summary here. So basically, yeah, you can see what I mean. That there's these people that have decided that, hey, okay, this OVA or short anime format is something that seems to be successful, and we've released a lot of these OVAs, and they're realizing that, hey, maybe this this the GGG thing, girls gun and gore, is a selling point that we can probably exploit. Again, most of these animes and that kind of stuff are designed for the male market right now. And so a lot of that's what they're aiming their stuff at. Okay, so let's have a look at 1986 and see what has sort of been released and added since then. So we look at 1986 here. Okay, and again fairly good movies listed up there. You see things like La Puta, and we see Arion and good shows like that. Okay, and so it's there's some good stuff there, but we focus on some of the other ones, okay? And I quickly see things like the Humanoid, for example. So that's, again, we're right off of Sorayama's big take on the sexy robot, okay? So we had that little bit of that from Space Cobra, but now all of a sudden got another OVA called Humanoid, okay? We also have some really gory titles like MD Geist and Violence Jack. Okay, so that's definitely pushing that envelope there again. Project Eiko. Okay, definitely the bathing scene with the Biko in it. That definitely was very edgy right there. And not to include that, it was a product of the Cream Lemon series. And again, on the topic of the Cream Lemon series, we have Hirano, who did Ixer 1, who also did an episode in the Cream Lemon series. But we also have Amy Sorakara, which is also, the Amy story arc inside the Cream Lemon series that came out this year as well. So, I mean, so we've got some Cream Lemon episodes coming in. We got Call Me Tonight, which is another very kind of, really, really... bordering R type of the show there for sure. We also have different shows. We also have the things like I City, of course, Love City, and of Kitsunobe 2, drawn by the guy who does Crying Free Man. I mean, that has a full blown rape scene in it. Okay, come on. So I mean, that's that really, if the edge hasn't been pushed over, that one at least pushes it over. So I mean, that's that's for sure, a big one there. Outlanders. Okay, so Jonah Manabe at this time was doing lots of doujinshis and that kind of stuff, and so now here's one of his mangas for the Outlanders. He finally released into a OEVA format. Okay, so you can see that now all of a sudden we got a lot more of these titles proliferating. Okay, and so this is creating this idea that okay, sure, anime could be Studio Ghibli's Laputa and nice little shows like that, Lupin the Third and Arion and things like this, but no one ever talks about those ones at this time. No, no, no. Everyone's talking about all the really nasty stuff, right? That's what they want to get into, right? Like even something like Project Echo, which is a really big, kind of fan favorite type of show. Their focus was wow, did you see that scene in there? Or Megazone 23, it's great and bikes and that kind of stuff. But wait a minute, at the end they had that big sex scene, right? That's what they started concentrating on, and so again, at this time, a lot of the market is male. Okay, so if you were thought of watching anime or being a otaku, okay, right, a big fan of anime, then you weren't associated with okay, you like Gundam or that kind of stuff. No, no, no. You were immediately thought of oh well, you must be liking all that that perverted stuff, i.e. the Project Echoes, the Extra Ones, the Dangayos, that kind of stuff, or the Kizuna Bitu, those type of crying free man, all that kind of nasty stuff. Okay, so to a lot of the people who with traditional thinking okay, well, animation is for kids and cartoons, and all of a sudden this anime stuff is immediately making the divide and saying, well, no, it's not a cartoon, it's anime. The distinction is that okay, if it's cartoons, it's for kids. It's anime, it must be for adults, and therefore it's pornography or porn, right? And so that's how that sort of that labeling has occurred, and basically the anime at this time supports it by just saying okay, here's all these animes like Project Echo and Cream Lemon stuff and Extra One and all this stuff. They have these obligatory sex scenes in them, okay, and again, that just leads to the to the bad vibe that it gives to the market, right? It wasn't until much later when the other half of the market was introduced with things like Sailor Moon and that kind of stuff and whatnot, that we now have realization that there's a variety of stuff that's available for anime, and anime is not just for perverted guys and that kind of stuff. There's other topics that are available, and so that's how the genre kind of repaired itself and repaired its image. But just looking at these titles and looking at how it started, that's how all the bad stigmatism and all that bad press comes from, is these titles that when they first started OVAs and when they start marketing anime, this is what sold, and as the saying sells, sex sells, right? So that's unfortunate. That's how the bad wording and the bad names got with anime, and that's how otaku got initially the bad reference. Okay, I guess the same way how Trekkies is, right? Is just because you dress up in a Star Trek uniform, Trekkies was used to be a bad word, like haha, look at that guy who's dressed up as in a Star Trek uniform. He's a Trekkie. He looks weird, right? But now, with many more years of Star Trek out there and many more different sequels, it's now common, popular culture to have that, and it's not as weird to be dressed up in a Star Trek uniform or a Klingon outfit or whatever, just as much as it isn't that strange to see a person dressed up as a Jedi or a stormtrooper or whatever, right? So it's become part of our popular culture. Not as strange now. It's just like how we do now cosplay is not as strange. Anyway, so I hope you found this kind of interesting, and now you kind of sort of now where these titles come, where this kind of signature comes from, and maybe heck, if you have the time, go through and look some of these titles up, and you can see what I mean. If you're kind of imagine, as I said, an earlier you that wasn't exposed to all this anime that you are now familiar with, if you saw this, would you think anime would be a bad thing? Well, have a look, and if you think so too, make a comment down below and let me know what you think. Okay, so definitely if you go down below, make sure you click subscribe and hit that notification button, because as I said, I'm going to be doing more episodes for 1987, 88, and 89, and I'm sure that if this is an indication of what's going on, I'm sure we're going to have a heck of a lot more titles in 88 and 89 that's going to have some more nasty stuff in it for sure. And then basically, and again, when I get to the end of 1989, I'm going to do a big, nice 1980s sort of go through, make a big top list of definitely animes that you should not miss from this decade. Okay. So until next time, see you again.